Greetings, fellow comic heads. It is I, Comic Head 84, coming at you with my new comic book day video. It has come, the best day of the week. I read a bunch of comics. They were great. I want to talk to you about them. Except one. One was a real stinker, and I'm gonna let you know just what I thought of that one. But besides that, a pretty fire week for comics. So yeah, man. Without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, first up, let's start with Image Comics. We have, hold on, let me take this gum out of my mouth. As you may know, I kick the cigarettes, but it just has me chewing gum like a madman. It's not super easy to quit cigarettes, so just know, it's been like almost 2 months, and, still get the urge to light up. I have not broken my will, though. Anyway, I just need to get that gum out of here. Die number 3. They did it again. Die continues to be one of my favorite titles that's coming out. The art is incredible. This particular issue, it's just delving deeper into like the mythology of this book and what it's going to be about. What I like that he does is at the end of these issues, you're getting like 2 or 3 pages of the creator writing about the process or what have you, and those have proven to be like some of my favorite parts of the issue. They really help texturize and flesh out this whole thing. So always read that stuff in the back, and yeah, just a great book. Someone asked me in a chat the other day, because I generally rave about this title, and someone asked me, hey, what is it about Die that you like? Why do you like it? Pretty simple question. And I guess what I would say of like why I like it, because it's not the D&D references and stuff, because I've never played it. I don't really have familiarity with like board RPG games like that. I think it just comes down to really good artwork, and you can tell that a lot of work went into building this world. I suspect that this writer has had this idea of Die in his head for a long time, and it shows in the writing. So I'm just enjoying seeing this like fleshed. He's created a really cool world that these characters live in, and I enjoy going through it and seeing what the rules of it are and how it works and stuff like that. So even more so than the characters, which are interesting, I'm just like interested in learning about the world with Die. So that's the best I can say as a pitch as to why this thing is awesome. Boom. Next up, I picked up a hard copy of that, but for Freeze number 3, I read that digitally. I'm going to go through the Image books first. Let me fix this lighting. So, Freeze number 3 was pretty good too. The story has remained interesting. It's cool sci-fi type stuff going on. It's funny because as I was reading this issue, I was thinking about the art, and I'm like, it's cool. It's not poorly done. It's just not very dynamic, and it's something I see a lot in like indie comics when they're not hero books or action books per se, because this is really just like a sci-fi thriller kind of story. And a lot of times when you get these kind of stories or crime thrillers, stuff like that, the art tends to just not be very dynamic, because it's usually just people talking. That's what most of the panels consist of, people, just dialogue. And you don't get a lot of opportunities for really cool art pages, and that's one of the things that I don't love about some of those indie titles, where even if they are great stories, crime thriller stuff, I prefer to see it in movie form or TV form, because I just feel like it's a better delivery system for it. Comic books, it benefits from a splash page of Daredevil whipping through the night sky and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so I was just, I felt like the art was kind of bland in this book. And at the end of this issue, they had a little section about the artist going through his process of, what on one of the pages that he did. And he highlighted one of the better pages when, I guess this is a little spoiler alert, but they revealed this page, which is like a bunch of these dead bodies in the back of a van. And he goes through his process, and I just wanted to share this with you, that how he came to lay out that page, much like, people use photo references, like Alex Ross, very notably, will use photo references when he does his pieces. This guy will take pictures of himself and then crop them out and lay out the page with pictures of himself in those poses. And for this scene of a bunch of bodies in the back of this van, he took tons of photos of himself and created a little collage of like a dozen or two of hymns in the back of a van, and he used that to draw the page. So I just thought that was interesting. I'm going to keep on reading Freeze. It's a good book. Next up, Prodigy. Prodigy number 3. Prodigy's really good. I'm continuing to enjoy Prodigy, and they did an important thing with this issue. Because right from the jump, I had one concern about this book. And is that this guy, the main character, is just going to be super OP, right? I think in my review of issue 1 is where I referenced the infamous OP-ness of this character. But what I was getting at was, I just don't want him to be good at everything, and he has an answer for everything, and whatever. So I just thought that might lead to a boring character. And they did 2 things in this issue that I liked. One was they established this trait of him liking to build people up. And it's genuine. Like, we come across this one character in a bar that he tells a story of, and his name escapes me, the main character. Let's just call him Prodigy. So the Prodigy guy met him as a broken man. He was a broken war veteran many years ago. And he took the dude under his wing, took him to an island in Thailand or something for like 3 months, and helped rebuild that dude and show him a better way or whatever. And they show another example of him. There's a couple henchmen where he's on a ledge, they're pointing a gun at him. And the way he gets out of it is he almost like does a little personality analysis. Says, hey, your dad walked out on you, blah, blah, blah. And he kind of psychoanalyzes them and triggers some kind of emotion, and they let him up. And normally, once the guy did that, he'd be like, haha, got you, sucker, and then knocked him out or something. But he continues and says, hey, it's all good, man. I know you're hurting, and you got caught up in this other guy's racket of being a mercenary, but I can see that you're a good dude. And he actually puts him to work in his business. Like, he's the real deal. So that's a cool quality of his. He likes to build people up. They mention that his whole company, all his office assistants have that same origin story. So really cool. And then secondly, you got to give this guy a flaw. And the flaw that they've established here is that he's addicted to taking risks. And hopefully that will, put him in some precarious situations. And, hopefully that can be a flaw to this otherwise flawless character. Okay, let's jump over to Marvel. And I'm going to try to not make this a super long video, but Iron Man, number 8. This is the cover of the week. Beautiful. I didn't even open it. I didn't read it. I don't know what's going on in here, so I can't speak to the story. But this cover is just, it's just beautiful art. Even if it wasn't comic book a comic book cover. I can picture walking into an art museum or an art exhibit in Manhattan or something and see a piece like this. Let's just swap out Iron Man for a regular dude. And you have a white canvas with a regular dude drowning in a glass of whiskey. Right? So that's why this one takes the cake. This is just good art. So, and side note, what that makes me think of is there was if anyone's watching this video and you disagree with any of my takes on stuff, or if there's something about me that rubs you the wrong way or something, I don't know, feel free to let me know. I'm all about feedback, constructive criticism, even if it's not constructive and you just want to hate on me. That's fine. I only mention that because on one of my last videos, someone left a comment, but he deleted it, and I was only able to see like the preview. I don't want to shout his name out, but I was so interested to see what it was going to continue to say, because he was like, man, what your comments on that Iron Man issue when I scoped it out a couple weeks in advance, like your comments on that Iron Man issue are the exact reason why the comic book industry is going to collapse on itself. ... And then he continued on to say, I don't know, expand on it, but I think he deleted it. He must have had second thoughts and didn't want to come off as a dick and delete it. And I was like, oh man, I wish you left it there. So it's all good. Fire off, man. I'm a big boy. I think it's kind of funny. Anyway, Old Man Quill. Old Man Quill is fire. It's a great book. Like I suspected, Ethan Sachs, who wrote Old Man Hawkeye, which I came to the party late on that, that's why I had to pick up the trade for the first 5 or 6 issues, is the guy that wrote Old Man Quill. And he didn't disappoint him. He's found the formula of they're like broken men, That seems to be the theme with these old man whatever characters. Peter Quill is just like a broken down man. I don't want to spoil this, but he's dealing with some heavy regret, and it's really palpable stuff. The regret that he walks with each day, and you can see how that would mess with his psyche. And it's just really cool. The villain has like religious overtones to it, which is really cool. He gets together with the gang, just super sweet. And this cover's fine. This is just the A cover, and this thing is sweet. That's a beautiful image of him in the mask, and I didn't realize that the eye of the Star-Lord mask is actually a planet exploding, which is, relevant to the book. So boom, that's that one. Next up, so we're in Marvel land. So let's go to Marvelous X-Men. This was a digital pickup for me. Marvelous X-Men is, it's pretty cool. I personally like it. I know this book is getting mixed reviews, and I can see why it's getting those mixed reviews, but I'm into it. I like the premise of it. X-Man, X-Jesus, as he pretty much is now, has reimagined this world that they're in. It's definitely a bite or a swipe of Age of Apocalypse, Age of X, even House of M, where everyone gets like a utopian future, and all that stuff. But hey, it still works. I feel like it's interesting. He's created this utopian world, and the cool thing that you're starting to see is that when you're trying to make the world utopian and there's no disagreements and whatever, that usually means you're going to have a totalitarian, tyrannical world. That's the trade-off. It's very difficult to achieve utopia because we're human, Like they've outlawed relationships. They can't fornicate to reproduce. Everything is like made in embryo stage because that will lead to, passion and these human emotions of jealousy and anger. Who knows? Everything is neutered, So it's really, I think it's interesting. The character designs are dope. I love that Magneto design. Nature Girl is my first my first exposure to Nature Girl, and I think she's awesome. Interesting character. I'm digging the antlers, and like I was telling D-Runk last night on our chat, we were talking about this book. Shout out to D-Runk Comics. That's my ace. That's my partner in crime. He has a great channel, great insight. Sub him up immediately. But we were talking about, I was telling him why, because he hates Nature Girl. And what I told him that I liked about it was, she's just classic. When you go back to your old X-Men team, you had Iceman, Angel, Wings, Beast, the Beast guy, Nature Girl. You know, you got Iceman, Nature Girl, Marvel Girl. I like it. Go back to basics. She's Nature Girl. She can commune with nature, speak to animals, speak to the environment. Beautiful. Instead of, like I'm not a fan of, what's his name? I don't know. Glorb, Glob, Stain. It's like a sound effect. The guy, the skeleton guy who's wrapped in gelatinous whatever. Like, I don't know. What is that? Could you see that guy on the original X-Men lineup? Not really. But Nature Girl, kind of. Anyway, Marvelous X-Men. I liked it. Next up, Uncanny X-Men number 11 is a masterpiece. Cyclops is back, baby. And they killed it. So, read of the week, needless to say, read of the week, Uncanny 11. Every page of this book is awesome, is well done. Cyclops is back. It's a streamlined story because all these other X-Men are in that Marvelous X-Men, Age of X-Men world. So that's good. So we're not getting a big convoluted X-Men story. We're getting a streamlined. Scott Summers is back. He's linking up with Multiple Man. He links up with the Morlocks. Who Chamber is like the leader of the Morlocks, dude from Generation X. He has great exchanges with these characters, and they just ground it in reality. There's a moment when Cyclops is meeting with Jamie Madrox's Multiple Man, and at the end of the exchange, Multiple Man says, "Hey, you need some cash?" Cyclops is like, "Yeah, I could use a couple $100 just to get back on my feet," and he hands him some money. And as he holds his hand out, his hand multiplies like by 5, and he multiplies the money, which I thought was a cool use of his powers. But that right there was brilliant to me. It was like, because you never think of that. Yeah, these superheroes running around, yeah, they need money, right? They need like petty cash to live. So that was just an example that they're taking a realistic look on this thing. Captain America shows up in a great scene with Cyclops and Captain America. I might make a whole video on how great this is and how happy I am, because if you've been following my videos for a while, I have shit on X-Men, the current X-Men runs, for a while because it's just really, really bad, and this is a true return to form of good X-Men writing. So, boom, that's that. Next up, Immortal Hulk number 13. All I'm going to say on this is, it was okay. Immortal Hulk's been knocking my socks off for a while, and this issue was just pretty good. So, we'll see. Hopefully it picks up. Alright, let's go to the land of DC. This is the last of the actual hard copy books that I picked up, and that is Batman, what number was it? 64. Batman 64. I had to do it. Horizontal Sean Murphy cover. Thing is a work of art. I love it. I'm yet to see what a horizontal cover looks like slabbed. So I'm going to keep an eye out to see what that looks like. But boom, there you go. It's cool. I mean, as far as the inside story goes, they totally abandoned the story that they've been telling, and they're just doing like a little mini run with Flash. They even say right in the beginning of like, this story takes place between Batman number 61 and 64. I don't know. Anyway, once again, they bail on the story. I feel like they're not getting it into a groove on the storyline on Batman. But hey, we have Detective, right? So that's that. All right, so I guess that brings me to the last read of the week, which was Female Furies. Female Furies, DC Comics. And this comic was a complete travesty, embarrassment. Okay? Um, I was kind of, maybe it was false hope, but when I saw that they were doing a Female Furies comic, I said, oh, cool. Because I just read Mr. Miracle. And even though I felt like I had some problems with it here and there, but overall, I appreciate that as some high-level comic book storytelling. It was really good overall. Um, and I remember at the end of that book, if you guys read Mr. Miracle, they say, hey, the story's over for now, but we're going to pick it up soon. Something like that. So that's what I thought this might be. I said, oh, okay. They told the Mr. Miracle story, put a pin in that, and now we're going to continue basically like the Big Barda story. You know, I like Big Barda as a character. We're going to get Big Barda, Female Furies, because that recent Mr. Miracle run got me acclimated to New Genesis, Apocalypse, that whole world, because I really wasn't that familiar with it. So I really got intrigued by that whole world. So I was looking forward to this. And oh my God, this is embarrassing. It is, it's not even close to, the quality, the effort that was put into the Tom King and Mitch Gerads' Mr. Miracle run. It's like they're not even the same planet, the same publisher. This thing is a joke. They're going for like a girl power type of motif here, I guess, as I guess you could have suspected, But they go about it in such the wrong way. If I had a daughter, I would not want her to read this. I would make a point to stay away from this book. These women, they get treated like garbage the whole time. They are constantly sexually harassed in this comic. It's only 20-something pages, and they get sexually harassed. Darkseid straight up rapes Granny Goodness. It's awkward. It doesn't really make any sense. They're just totally not taken serious. They've almost retconned Granny Goodness to be, you're just taking care of the kids. Like, they literally go tell her to go clean up the kitchen in this book. And they flash back to old Granny Goodness back in the day when they were doling out jobs. That's the job that she got was like childcare, daycare, and they would try to make that seem like that was her getting a raw deal, And for her to even get that job to begin with, she had to sleep with Darkseid, is how they retconned it. And it's like, man, Granny Goodness, that was a cool part of her character, that she would raise the youth of Apocalypse, and they totally just retconned it to be like, yeah, that was just her getting, the man knocking her down or whatever. As if raising up the youth is an unimportant task. Are we trying to say that raising a new batch of humans is the same as like scrubbing toilets? Are we serious here? And they want to get into this next war, and the men are trying to keep them out of the war, saying females can't fight in this war, da-da-da. And Granny Goodness is pushing, saying, no, they can do it, they can do it. So you know what they do? In order to show their worth, the guys put them through a couple tests. One being a bake-off. A bake-off. Darkseid is a part of this. Look at this. Darkseid is sitting at a table at a bake-off competition. And depending on how good they bake is going to determine whether they get to fight in the army or not. Darkseid's critiquing their baking, an evening gown contest, and a smile contest while they're wearing bikinis. Darkseid is a part of this. He's a serious character. You know what I mean? There's so many examples of groping and sexual assault and all that stuff. This guy should be embarrassed. The writer, Cecil Castellucci, is the writer of this book. And he should be embarrassed this is not for girls. This is like some horrifying shit for girls to read. To empower women, you don't have to make men portrayed as just vile scum. Because every male character in this book is vile scum. And it's like, dude, just make the women awesome, okay? Tell heroic tales about these women. Instead of spending the whole issue telling us how vile and sexually assaulting scum all the men are. It was crazy. I couldn't believe what I was reading. So, I don't know, man. Again, I can't believe it. To go from that Tom King Mr. Miracle run and transition to this is like the saddest part. Because they breathed new life into Mr. Miracle and Big Barda and that whole world. Because they've been like, those are lesser known characters. And this just totally blew it. And it makes me wonder too, like, Mr. Miracle everyone was singing the praises of that book. Like, when this guy Cecil Castellucci gets the job, and they say, hey, we want you to write Big Barda story, Female Furies. Doesn't part of him say, oh, cool, I want people, after I'm done with this Female Furies run, I want people to look back on this and talk about it the way that they talk about Mr. Miracle, Tom King's Mr. Miracle run. I want them to look back and say, man, that was like high caliber. They took the source material seriously and told a great story. No one's going to do that when they read this. And like, Cecil, don't you want that? Isn't that what you guys shoot for? Alright, rant over. That's it. Sorry about the long video. Thanks for hanging out. And I'll catch you next time. Peace! Psych! Yo, I got 300 subs, which is incredible. Thank you guys for subbing. Thank you guys for watching. It's awesome. I appreciate it. So, thank you for sticking around to the end of this video. And I want to do a little contest giveaway for you peeps that, stick around till the end. So, here's what I'm going to give away. I'm going to give away these 3 books. I'm going to give away a DC Mattina Wonder Woman cover. Issue number... Oh, this is Dark. Justice League Dark. Anyway, you know this cover. This is that dope-ass Mattina cover of Witched Out Wonder Woman. Bang. That's for you DC heads. For you Marvel heads. Fantastic Four number 1. Pretty dope. Mr. Fantastic cover. Boom. And then for you collectors out there, look at this. I'm going to include Dell Comics, MGM, Mouse Musketeers from 1957. This is a 1957 comic book in surprisingly good shape. Tom and Jerry. This thing is pretty cool. So, it's all yours. It has a little tape tear over here on the U, which is kind of unfortunate. But hey, it's free. It's all yours. So these 3 books, I'm going to give away as a thank you for the 300 subs. Here's all you got to do. Me and D-Runk Comics, subscribe him. Again, subscribe. Me and my boy D-Runk, because if you like my content, you want to subscribe to D-Runk, because I'm always jumping on his channel and we do live streams and stuff. So, anyway. Him and I are going to be doing a top 5 of our favorite DC Universe movies. And that's going to be coming soon. So all I need you to do is just, in the comments section of this video, let me know what your favorite DC movie is. It doesn't need to be the DC Universe, like this Justice League universe. You can go back to Tim Burton Batman flicks, whatever. Christopher Reeve, Superman. Any era. Just throw that in the comment. Just let me know what your favorite one is. That's going to put you in the contest, and then on my next new comic book day video, so just next week, I'm going to raffle up all your names, and I'm going to give away these 3 books. Alright guys, I feel like this is a really long video. I get super self-conscious about that. So, I apologize for the length. And now, for real, I'm out. Peace.